On to the player ratings of Spurs lost to Nottingham Forest 1-0 at the City Ground. Let's start off with Fraser Forster, 6s all round. I mean, he was fairly untested. I thought it was a really good double save in that second half. I can't remember who the players were that had the efforts. Yeah, Gibbs White and was it both? Was they both Gibbs White?
I think one of them, there was a cross come in and he punched it away.
Oh, yeah, that was it, yeah.
And then he had the shot.
So I thought he dealt with everything that came his way pretty well. The goal that we did concede, I thought he could have rushed out a bit quicker than he did. I thought Vicario might have rushed out a bit quicker than that and maybe would have snuffed it out. But, yeah, I thought he dealt with everything pretty well and he was quite strong from the crosses.
Yeah, I agree. I think Vicario probably is a bit sharper and quicker off his line and maybe gets to smother Elanga a bit more than Forster was able to. Obviously, Forster made himself big, couldn't stop the shot. Good save from Gibbs White, albeit, again, it probably came from some not great goalkeeping from the cross, which he just palmed straight into Gibbs White. But again, no one was kind of picking Gibbs White up. He was just completely free on the edge of the box. But yeah, I think he did okay, but actually wasn't so tested. It wasn't a game where he was peppered at all, really.
Spence up next, 5s all round for Jed. I thought he actually played pretty well for the most part. I thought he was aggressive going forward. He was involved quite heavily in the period where we were on top just before they scored their goal going forward. And I thought, he didn't get beaten too many times going the other way defensively. I thought he was having a pretty good game. But he gets marked down for the stupid red card that he gives away. Obviously, Nottingham Forest on their counter-attack. He takes down the man, which it was obviously going to be a booking. And I think the first booking was for kicking the ball away or something stupid like that. So really 2 stupid bookings for Jed. And he's going to be out for the next game, which is going to hurt us massively. So, look, he's playing well at the moment, Jed Spence. There's no getting away from it, but just a stupid moment yesterday.
Yeah, I probably saw the petulant side to him yesterday. Probably a bit of frustration with how the game was going. Obviously back at his old ground as well. Probably wanted things to go a lot better. I thought he started bright, but wasn't really able to do enough in the final third. I thought he got into some good positions, but then just didn't put the ball in. He kept cutting it back. He kept playing it back to whether it be Johnson or maybe Decky. And I just thought a lot of times he got to the byline and just whip it in, but he just kind of refused to do it. I think actually his performance was not as good when he went again to on the left-hand side, but I thought in general he was okay, but yeah, that obviously ended the game badly for him, and that will probably overshadow his performance. But yeah, that's kind of maybe the side to Jed, which has probably been keeping him out of the team. That those little things that we saw at the end of the game where he got himself sent off. But to be fair, in terms of the thing that did get him sent off, he was trying to stop an attack. It was just like a tactical foul, but you can't do that when you're on a yellow because you're asking for trouble, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Dragoshin up next, 6s all round for Radu. Has responded to the Liverpool game in a positive manner yesterday, in my opinion. I thought he did really well aggressively up against Chris Wood, where Chris Wood, we pretty much didn't see him throughout the game. So I thought on a defensive capability, he done well. Just could do a bit better on the ball, to be honest.
Yeah, I think dealt Chris Wood fairly comfortably. I thought aerially they were kind of keeping Wood very, very quiet. But as usual, on the ball, just not so great, and wasn't able to play the ball forward with any kind of quality, like into good position. There were a couple of good passes in there, but just few and far between. And he went in half injured, which is not great as well.
Archie Gray up next, 6s all round for Archie. Like I said before, he's definitely one of our most consistent performers at the moment. 18-year-old central midfielder, stepping in at centre-back so well. He's got such a old head on his young shoulders, 18 years of age, and just stepping in like that, completely out of position. You've got to give him so much credit, albeit I do think he was the one that kept Elanga on side.
Yeah, I mean, we're facing the prospect of Gray being our senior centre-back now for the foreseeable, which is crazy to think about. But we've got to be thankful that he's stepped in as he's done, because I think another player in that position probably don't put in the level of performances he's been putting in. Not to say we're not struggling and he's as good as some of the other players we have in that position, of course, but I think he's been so mature. I think he's doing his best. I think to deal with Chris Wood like he has done, not be bullied. I thought he got a bit bullied against Liverpool, but he didn't on this occasion, and I think he stepped up quite well. And he's doing as well as he can, I think, and you just got to give him credit for that.
Destiny Udogie up next. Sims gives him a 6. I gave him a 4. I felt he started the game really well, sharp, aggressive. He was getting up and down the pitch, got caught in behind from Elanga for that goal in, what was it, 25 minutes in or 20 minutes in. And I just felt like he just vanished out the game after that. You didn't see those kind of marauding, bulldozing runs. You didn't see anything of an aggressive nature. And I was actually disappointed with the Docky yesterday because it was a really promising opening to the game. And then he kind of vanished out of it.
I thought he was okay. I thought he was probably one of our brighter players in general. Had, as you said, probably a stronger start than maybe how he finished it. But I thought in general he was okay. I thought, yeah, obviously the goal comes down his side, but Elanga had very little apart from that. I think he dealt with him very comfortably. But obviously the big moment he had, he scored it. Comes again from a counter-attack, and it's easy to say he got caught out of position, but obviously Jed Spence loses it in the middle of the park, doesn't he? And then all of a sudden Docky's backtracking and Elanga gets the better of him on that occasion. But I thought in general he did all right. I think on his return, I think it was a decent performance.
Rodrigo Bentancur up next. Threes all round for Bentancur, and I was really disappointed and frustrated with his display yesterday. You leave the team because of stupid comments made. You're suspended for 7 games, and this is the way you respond. Should have been the freshest player on the team. Ange saying coming into the game, he's training well, he's so fresh, he's so fit, and he showed anything but that, to be honest. I thought he was poor off the ball, really poor on the ball, didn't protect the ball at all, and was a massive contributing factor into a non-existent midfield yesterday.
Yeah. I thought he should have been taken off half time. He's had a shocker. I was not happy with him whatsoever. Really struggled throughout the game. Really struggled to get near Yates and Anderson, and most importantly Gibbs White. I thought Gibbs White had the freedom on the centre of the park, and Bentancur should be patrolling that area, and he just didn't do it. On the ball, terrible. I've never seen him be so bad on the ball. I think like he was just not at the races. Not every pass was, so many passes were sloppy and giving the ball away in stupid positions, and in positions where a few times we could have been on the attack, and he's just making poor decisions and sloppy passes. So very, very disappointed. And he obviously got taken off on the hour, but I thought he should have been taken off at half time. He was having a shocker. Yeah.
Pape Sarr up next. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5. I thought out of the middle 3, he was probably the best of a bad bunch, but it's not saying much. I don't think he had a good game by any stretch of the imagination. I thought he was running around a lot, putting in a few challenges here and there, but I mean, he couldn't really impact the game in any stretch of the imagination. Another contributing factor to playing a lot of games, Pape, and I think that showed yesterday.
Yeah, sloppy, very sloppy passes from him. Off the ball as well, I think wasn't at the same level. There were some good moments. There was a moment where he strode past Gibbs right down the right-hand side, and I think played with Decky, which created an opening, but all that, those are few and far between. Again, a game he was off, and he was making way too many sloppy passes, I felt, throughout the game, and just putting Tottenham needlessly under pressure. Unforced errors as well. So not a good day for Pape, I thought.
Decky up next. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 3. I was really frustrated with Decky yesterday. Yes, I know he's playing a lot of football, and he looked like he was running on empty for the majority of the game. There was so many times where he was getting the ball, holding on to it for too long, just not releasing it when he should be releasing it. When you're looking at him and the likes of Sonny, who are our senior attacking players, he's been brilliant this season, Decky, and he just couldn't impact or sustain any sort of attacks yesterday.
Yeah, he definitely looked very, very tired. I think off the ball mostly. I've never seen him get shoved off the ball so many times and just walking into players. He made 3 fouls. They looked like tired fouls as well, going to the back of people, and he didn't get fouled once, which is not the staple of how Decky usually plays. But credit to him in one other sense, because even though he was clearly running on empty very tight, he's still able to create a couple of moments. He set up a really good chance for Brennan Johnson in that first half with some really good play on the wing. And there was another moment, I can't remember, I think he might have created an opening for Sonny in that second half. But unfortunately, it was just a rare off day for Decky where he just wasn't at the races.
Brennan Johnson up next. Him gives him a 6. I gave him a 4. Definitely the brightest of our attacking players yesterday. He was the one where pretty much all our chances pretty much fell to him yesterday, and he's got to be doing better. Particularly the one where he makes for himself. Brilliant bit of skill to actually make it for himself, but you've got to put that away. You have to put that away, particularly in where the game's at that moment in time. Chances were few and far between. So when you get your chances, you have to put them away. And yeah, he gets it.
If that goal goes in, that's one of the touches of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was unbelievable. You got to put it away. You got to put it away. Dele Alli-esque. Apparently, you said it on the stream yesterday. Bergkamp-esque.
Yeah, one of those touches. It was actually in a tight space. I think it was Murillo, wasn't it?
It was a very good touch. It was a very good touch, but you got to be doing better with the chances that come your way. You have to be clinical, and if he scores that, we might not be talking about a loss today.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think any of his chances, I think you're probably saying, I think if he scores any of them, it's probably a different result. And obviously Brendan coming up against his former team, as you said, I thought he was our brightest attacker. He was the one looking most likely to score or do something. Again, his general play wasn't so strong, but he was the one getting in the positions to get on the end of things and score. I think for the first two, you've got to give a bit of credit, especially for that second one for Matt Sells. I thought that was actually a really good save. The second one was a good effort from Brennan, high into the net, and it was a really good save from Matt Sells to tip it over. There was one near the beginning of the game at 0-0 where he hit it across the face of goal, and that was a real Brennan position. And I think Brennan didn't hit it as well as he could have, and I think if he scores that goal, it's typical Brennan, but didn't quite catch it. He should be doing better from that position. Obviously, he was also in on goal, but Son didn't find him right at the start of the game. But yeah, that touch was unbelievable. Volley, took it out the sky. He then nutmegs Murillo with an unbelievable close control, and then Matt Sells came and smothered him, unfortunately, and he hit it straight at him. He's got to be burying it. He did create a great chance for himself, but you've got to give him credit because he was the one who created it. No one else did that for him. They created out of nothing as well. So showed real, actually, technical ability I didn't know Brendan had in that moment. I was like, that really surprised me when he pulled that off, because I didn't know he was capable of something like that.
As much as it was a great moment, it means nothing because we couldn't score and he couldn't put the ball in the back of the net.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, right, this is a game where we were struggling to break the Forest down, and this is a very good Forest defence, and the fact that he was capable of that kind of touch impressed me. But he didn't score, so no one's going to remember. It's going to count for nothing. But I think I've got to give him a bit of credit for it. But ultimately, didn't do enough when it came to, apart from those goal scoring chances, to asked enough questions about Forest defence, I thought.
Sonny, Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 3. Unfortunately, he just couldn't have any impact in the game. In the opening minutes, he gets in behind and he should have squared it to Brennan because that was definitely going to be a goal. Apart from that, I thought he struggled massively. Up against Ola Aina. He just could not beat him for love nor money. Had that free kick that hits the side netting, which was a nice effort, but Son is struggling at the moment. Last couple of games, I thought he's really struggled.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I thought Olaina was really aggressive up against him. Any time he got the ball, bam, Olaina was on him like a rash, and he just couldn't really handle it. He just forced backwards every time. He just wasn't able to turn him. There was actually one moment right at the beginning of the game where I think he got a couple of nutmegs. I was like, okay, Sonny looks like he's in the mood. And then that chance really frustrated me. It's a 4-on-2. We've got Solanke, Decky, and Brendan on the right-hand side. We've got numbers in support. It's a really pivotal attack in the game, even though it's right at the start, because this Forest defence aren't going to give you much spare change here. And Sonny's got the ball. He's got his head down. He's not looking up. He's not looking for options. He's not looking to play people in. And he just went for goal. He's kind of like he already made his mind up. As soon as he picked up the ball, he's going to shoot. And not only was it a weak shot, but it wasn't even a great position to shoot from. And Brennan's right there. He's in on goal. Just slide him in. Doesn't do it. And that kind of set the tone for a very frustrating game for Sonny. And he played most of the game to no avail. Olaina had to be good, and he was good. Give him credit, because I thought he was very aggressive. Every time he got the ball came Sonny, he was there every time. He just gave him no space, and Sonny really struggled to really impact the game. But that one moment really frustrated me from him, because he's got to be doing better.
And Solanke, the last of the starting 11, Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 3. I thought he struggled in this game as well. I thought the defenders did a really good job up against him. He pretty much couldn't make it stick whenever he got the ball. He was dropping deep to try and impact the play, but he just wasn't aggressive enough, which you don't really associate with Dom Solanke. I thought he was losing a lot of duels yesterday, and probably another player that's suffering from fatigue at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Richarlison's been out for so long, he's just not been able to change it too much, unless he wants to give Lancashire a go, which he seems a bit reluctant to do at the moment. And again, Murillo, so aggressive. Milenkovic is so tall. Couldn't get anything out of them when crosses came in the box. They were just eating them up. Solanke couldn't impact it. Too often as well, I feel like when he does drop deep, he drops deep to link the play, and then he's on his bike to try and get back in the penalty area, and he doesn't make it in time a lot of the time. And we're getting crossed in the box, and he gets there too late, and that's something we've got to. That's something we have to kind of figure out how to change that, because we're not seeing Solanke in those positions to get on the end of things enough. So yeah, a frustrating day for him, I think.
Moving on to the subs, Lucas Bergvall. Sim gives him a 6, I gave him a 5. Look, another fairly positive cameo from Bergvall without doing too much. I thought he kept the ball moving. He was more positive, gave us more legs in the middle of the park. I love his passing ability, and he just looked a lot more positive than anyone looked in that midfield, and it was surprised to me that he didn't start yesterday with the fatigue that Spurs are suffering in midfield, and the midfield was non-existent, and I felt we got a bit more presence in there when he was there. Yeah,
I thought he should have started him, maybe Sarr, that number 8, and I thought he did add another. It was another. I agree. I think it was another positive cameo from him. Again, he didn't completely change the game, but he just had a little bit of progression with his passing. I thought much better than Bentancur. I thought he protected the ball a lot better. He was passing was a lot crisper. His switches were good, although there was one switch to Spence which went directly out of play, which was disappointing. But most of the time, his passing was actually pretty good. And I thought, I wouldn't say we looked more dangerous because he struggled to create even when he was on the pitch. But I just thought, in general play, we at least had Forest maybe a bit more penned in when he came on. I think he came on in a period where Forest looked like they were trying to kill the game off. And then he kind of stemmed that tide and allowed us to regain control of the game, but obviously couldn't break them down still. But I thought it was a positive cameo from him.
And last but not least, James Maddison. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. You know, we really needed some creativity and guile at the time he came on. I thought he should have come on a bit earlier, to be honest, because I thought Kulusevski was poor for the majority of the game. I thought Decky should have come off. I mean, he didn't even come on for Decky, did he? He came on
together, yeah.
He came on for Sarr, but I thought Maddison came on, you know, he tried to make stuff happen, but he didn't have enough quality to pick the lock, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was like earning a few more fouls in dangerous positions, getting some set pieces, and he had a couple of shots on the edge of the area which were blocked, but just wasn't able to find that killer moment. We know he's capable of it, but on this occasion he was found wanting. He had 25 minutes to try and come on and add a bit of magic to the team, and couldn't really provide it, to be honest.
Yeah. And last but not least, Mr. Ange Postecoglou, 4s all round, 1 win in the last 7 Premier League games for Tottenham Hotspur, and we are a club in crisis at the moment. In terms of the lineup, you know, as soon as the lineup was announced, I was actually happy because I saw players that were fresh in that team, with Destiny, with Bentancur, with Brennan Johnson. So I thought Spurs were going to put in a much better performance than they did, but it didn't materialise like that. I felt you saw Spurs were struggling, and I thought I know changes happened on the 65th minute. I thought they could have come a bit earlier, but we seem to say that every game. And look, Maddison could have come on earlier. I thought Lancashire needs to be used a lot more than he is. I thought Bergvall, in hindsight, probably Bergvall should have started the game. I don't know what Lancashire needs to do to earn some more minutes in this team. You know, we're struggling to break them down. We're struggling for options up front. Solanke's clearly struggling at the moment. So you start him away at Galatasaray, and then we don't see him since. We haven't seen him since. And he scored that. Yeah. And he scored that day. And I know he got sent off, but you're starting him in a really hostile place like Galatasaray. So why not play him a bit more?
Yeah, and I think when we're needing a goal, he's an attacker on the bench. You know, only
physical attacker as well.
Get him in. You swing crosses into him and Solanke and go for. I know we've gone 4-4-2 a lot of times and it hasn't worked, but I think, you know, try and give an opportunity. I think Bentancur probably should have been off at half time. He was having a terrible game and it didn't switch. I didn't have a massive problem with the lineup, and as well in terms of how he generally played, it was. I mean, I feel for him because we started the game quite well, and then Forest get a goal against a run of play, and all of a sudden, you know, they're in a position where it's exactly the position we don't want it to be in, and that goal. I guess he has to take some blame for that goal because it comes from Spence losing the ball in the middle of the park, and he wouldn't. I don't think Spence would be there if it wasn't Ange's instruction. So definitely that, you know, tactically Ange has to take responsibility for that. But I think the game probably if Nuno you could ask Nuno how that game would pan out. He'd probably say it like that. That'll probably be the perfect way for it to pan out, because that's probably his game plan going to perfection. But he tried different things to try and get back in the game. He won't put Maddison and Decky together for the last half an hour with Bergvall the 6 as well. So really did go quite attacking and kind of went for it, but just wasn't able to do it. I mean, I don't think there's much more he could have done, like tactically, to try and get back in that game. Probably could have thrown in Lancashire. That would have been something else. But I mean, I felt for him a bit yesterday in terms of watching that game. I was thinking, how does he change it? But I couldn't see too many ways apart from that. So look, if one of those Brennan chances goes in, it could maybe we're talking different. Would the players didn't maybe at crucial moments make the right decision or finish their chances when they had it. But we also didn't create enough chances to say, it's only about chances, because I think Forest, were way too comfortable in that last half an hour, way too comfortable. And that was also something to be concerned about. So I don't see him seeing there's glaring things that he could have done more, but it's clear that we didn't do enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the player ratings from the 1-0 loss against Nottingham Forest.